The old star map flickered in the darkness of Captain Zark's bridge. His green scales reflected the dim light as he checked the coordinates again. After 20 years of searching, his archaeological team had finally found it. The legendary human storage facility. "Captain, we're approaching the asteroid belt now," said First Officer V, her antenna twitching with excitement. "The signal is getting stronger." The ship slowed as it entered the field of massive rocks. They had crossed half the galaxy following ancient clues about Earth's last gift to the stars. Now, with enemy forces destroying their worlds one by one, they needed that gift more than ever. There, V pointed at a massive asteroid ahead. Unlike the others, this one had perfect edges, too perfect to be natural. As they got closer, they saw the faint outline of huge metal doors built into the rock. Captain Zarks felt his heart beat faster. "Scan for defense systems," he ordered. The last thing they needed was to be destroyed by ancient human weapons. The scans came back clear, but something else caught their attention. Warning signs covered the doors, written in 50 different alien languages. The newest was 300 years old. The oldest, written in human English, was from 1,000 years ago. Warning: Cryogenic storage facility. Authorized personnel only. Do not open without proper authorization. Danger level maximum. "Look at the size of those doors," whispered V. "This facility must be massive." Their ship, though large by their standards, looked tiny next to the asteroid base. Captain Zarks ordered his best engineers to the airlock. They floated across to the asteroid, magnetic boots clicking as they landed on the metal surface. It took them 3 hours to crack the first security system. Inside, emergency lights slowly came to life, revealing a long corridor that led deep into the asteroid. The air was still breathable, kept fresh by ancient but still working systems. "Captain," called one of the engineers through the radio, "you need to see this." The main chamber was enormous. Thousands of metal pods lined the walls, reaching up into the darkness. Each pod had a small window, frosted over with ice. Behind that ice, they could make out the shapes of sleeping humans. 10,000 pods, reported the ship's computer, all systems still running. Captain Zarks moved closer to one of the pods, wiping away the frost. Inside was a human female in some kind of military uniform. Her pod screen showed her vital signs, still stable after 1,000 years. "Should we wake them?" V asked quietly. "The warnings." Before Zarks could answer, the facility's alarms began to scream. Red lights flashed everywhere. "Captain," shouted the bridge crew through his radio. 3 enemy warships just jumped into the system. They're heading this way." Zarks looked at the sleeping human. His people were losing the war. Their worlds were burning. The enemy was destroying everything in their path. And here, hidden in this asteroid, were the warriors of Earth, the species that had fought off 6 different invasion attempts, that had survived their own nuclear wars, that had pushed back the horror of the deep space plague. The history books called humans the most dangerous species in the galaxy. That's exactly what they needed right now. "Start the revival sequence," he ordered. "Wake them up. Wake them all up." The pod in front of him hummed to life. The ice began to melt as the temperature slowly rose. The human's vital signs grew stronger. Her eyes snapped open. Through the glass, she stared at Zarks' alien face. But instead of showing fear, she quickly looked at her pod systems, checked the time display, and then gave what his scanobiology training told him was a human smile. The pod door hissed open. "Lieutenant Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Force," she said in perfect modern galactic standard. Thanks to the language updates her pod had given her during the long sleep. "Please tell me you woke us up because someone needs their ass kicked." Zarks couldn't help but smile back. Maybe there was hope after all. In the distance, enemy ships drew closer, not knowing they were about to face humanity's finest warriors. The real war was about to begin. Lieutenant Sarah Chen watched as more cryopods hummed to life around her. Steam filled the massive chamber as ancient machinery worked to wake Earth's sleeping warriors. She stretched her muscles, still remembering the battle that had led to their 1,000-year sleep like it was yesterday. Your species engineered these pods to keep you conscious during the freeze, Captain Zarks asked, amazed as more humans emerged fully alert and combat-ready. Sarah nodded. Earth wasn't about to repeat the mistakes from old science fiction movies. We used the sleep time to learn through neural interfaces. Everyone here has been studying galactic history, languages, and current technology while we slept. A deep voice boomed across the chamber. Lieutenant Chen. Status report. Colonel Marcus Hayes emerged from his pod, his dark skin glistening with melted frost. At 7 feet tall, he was a product of Earth's enhanced soldier program. His pod had been marked with additional warnings in red. Sir, we've been awakened by the Arxian Federation. They're at war with... Sarah checked the data in her mind. The Crawl Empire. Enemy ships approaching. More pods opened. Engineers, pilots, mechanics, and soldiers. Humanity's best, chosen to sleep until they were needed again. Each had been enhanced in different ways, their bodies and minds pushed beyond normal human limits. 3 enemy cruisers, sir, reported Captain Zarks, trying not to stare at the massive human colonel. They'll reach us in 20 minutes. Colonel Hayes grinned. Perfect. Just enough time for a little house cleaning. He turned to the awakening humans. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're starting this party early. Alpha Team, get to the weapon vault. Beta Team, power up the defense systems. Gamma Team, prepare the stalker suits. The humans moved with practiced precision, as if they hadn't been asleep for centuries. Sarah led Zarks and V deeper into the asteroid base. You're about to see why the pods weren't the only things we left behind, she said. They entered a massive hangar. Rows of sleek black combat suits stood at attention, each 3 meters tall. Next to them were weapons that made Zarks' scales tingle with their power readings. Stalker suits, Sarah explained, walking up to one. Powered armor with enough strength to punch through battleship armor. We used these to fight the Hexan swarm. The suit opened, and she stepped inside. The armor closed around her like a second skin. V's antenna went stiff. The Hexan swarm. But they were unstoppable. They destroyed 3 galactic civilizations before mysteriously disappearing 1,000 years ago. Mysteriously. Sarah laughed from inside her suit. We stopped them. That's why we went into Cryo-Sleep. Earth was too damaged from the war to remain habitable. We needed time to let it heal. Alarms blared. The enemy ships were getting closer. Colonel Hayes' voice came over the base speakers. All right, people. The Arxians were kind enough to wake us up for a fight. Let's show these Crawl why humanity earned its reputation. Power up the Shadow Fleet. The hangar floor split open. From the depths of the asteroid rose 5 pitch-black ships, each bearing the marks of Earth's Special Operations Command. They were smaller than modern warships, but packed with technologies that had been lost to time. Captain Zarks, Colonel Hayes addressed the alien commander. Would your people like to see how Earth fights a war? Before Zarks could answer, the Crawl ships began their attack run on the asteroid. They had no idea they were about to face the species that had turned hiding in asteroids into an art of war. Sarah's voice came through her suit's speakers. Just like old times, sir. Just like old times, Lieutenant. Hayes replied. Let's remind the galaxy why you don't mess with humans. The Shadow Fleet powered up, stalker suits launched, and humanity prepared to return to the stars. The legend of Earth's sleeping warriors was about to become very, very real. The Crawl commander's confidence turned to confusion as his ship's sensors detected multiple small objects launching from the asteroid. His species had conquered 3 star systems in the past month alone. What could possibly be hiding in this worthless rock? Unknown vessels detected, his tactical officer reported. 5 ships of ancient design. They're powering up weapons we can't identify. Inside her stalker suit, Sarah Chen smiled as she flew through space with her squad. The crawl ships were impressive, each one nearly the size of a small moon. But size hadn't helped the Hexen swarm either. "Remember your training, people," Colonel Hayes commanded from the lead Shadow Fleet vessel. "Formation Delta 7, just like we practiced in the simulations during Cryo-Sleep." 20 stalker suits moved in perfect synchronization, their black armor invisible against the darkness of space. The neural learning programs had done their job. 1,000 years of combat scenarios played out in their dreams had prepared them for this moment. Captain Zarks watched from his ship in amazement. The humans moved like no warriors he had ever seen. Their ships and suits left no energy signatures, somehow slipping through gaps in space that shouldn't exist. The first crawl ship fired, its massive plasma cannons lighting up the asteroid field. But the shots passed through empty space. The humans weren't where they appeared to be. Quantum ghost drives engaged, Sarah reported as her squad flickered between positions. The crawl targeting systems couldn't lock onto them. Just like fighting the phase phantoms in the Orion War. The humans struck from multiple angles simultaneously. Stalker suits landed on the crawl ships' hulls, their specialized weapons cutting through shields that were supposed to be impenetrable. The Shadow Fleet vessels blinked in and out of reality, firing weapons that bent space itself. Inside the lead crawl ship, alarms blared as hull breaches appeared simultaneously across 12 decks. The crew rushed to battle stations, but they weren't prepared for what came next. Sarah's squad breached the command bridge. Their suits' enhanced strength let them tear through internal doors like paper. The neural interfaces they'd trained with showed them exactly where to strike. "What are you?" the crawl commander demanded, seeing Sarah's suit materialize before him. "We're humanity's response team," she answered, her suit's speakers making her voice echo ominously. "The ones they wake up when the galaxy needs cleaning." The battle lasted less than 15 minutes. 3 crawl warships, the pride of their invasion fleet, disabled by warriors who had been sleeping for 1,000 years. Back at the asteroid base, Colonel Hayes addressed the captured crawl commander. "Here's what's going to happen," he said, towering over the alien. "You're going to send a message to your empire. Tell them humans are back in the game. And we're not happy about what you've been doing to our friends." The commander stared at the human giant. "The legends, they said your kind was dangerous. They said you were locked away because no one could control you." Hayes laughed. "We weren't locked away. We were waiting. There's a difference." He turned to Captain Zarks. "Now tell us everything about this war. Where are the main crawl fleets? What worlds need liberation first?" Sarah's squad was already analyzing the captured crawl ships, learning their weaknesses, preparing for the battles to come. The neural interfaces in their suits uploaded tactical data directly to the asteroid base's computers. "Sir," one of the human engineers reported, "we found something interesting in their databases. The crawl aren't working alone. There's another force behind them. Something old. Something that's been planning this for centuries." Colonel Hayes nodded grimly. "Of course there is. There's always a bigger fish." He turned to Sarah. "Lieutenant, looks like this war just got more interesting." "Just the way we like it, sir," she replied, her suit's systems already calculating possible scenarios. The humans had returned to the galaxy, and they were about to remind everyone why the old warnings had been written in the first place. Deep within the asteroid base's command center, Colonel Hayes studied the holographic map showing crawl-controlled territory. Over 40 star systems had fallen in the past year alone, but it was the pattern of their conquest that bothered him. "They're not just invading," he said, pointing to the systematic way the crawl ships moved. "They're searching for something." Sarah Chen entered the room, her stalker suit now bearing scorch marks from the recent battle. "Sir, we found something in the crawl commander's personal files. Look at this." The hologram shifted to show an ancient symbol, a spiral pattern that made Captain Zarks' scales turn pale. "By the stars," Zarks whispered. "That's the mark of the world enders. but they vanished even before your species went into cryo-sleep. Colonel Hayes smiled grimly. Did they vanish, Captain? Or did they just go to sleep? Like we did. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the base. On the tactical display, hundreds of ships appeared at the edge of the system. The Crawl had called in their main battle fleet. Perfect timing, Hayes said, pressing his hand against a hidden scanner on the wall. A new section of the base rumbled open, revealing a massive chamber that made even the humans pause in awe. Is that what I think it is? Sarah asked, staring at the enormous vessel that filled the hidden dock. The EDS Prometheus, Hayes confirmed. Earth's last dreadnought. And she's not alone. Throughout the asteroid belt, other hidden facilities began powering up. Dozens of massive ships, each bearing the scars and honors of humanity's last great war, awakened from their 1,000-year slumber. You hid an entire fleet in these asteroids. V's antenna twitched in disbelief. Operation Rip Van Winkle, Sarah explained, checking the neural link data streaming through her suit. Hide our best ships, our best warriors, and wait until we were needed again. But there's more. The Prometheus's engines hummed to life, its hull gleaming with technology that had been lost to time. But it wasn't the weapons or the armor that made it special. It was what the ship carried inside. Neural quantum cores, Hayes explained as they boarded. The ship doesn't just have an eye. It has the digitized consciousness of Earth's greatest admirals and strategists. They've been running battle simulations for 1,000 years, preparing for every possible scenario. The bridge came alive as they entered. A holographic figure appeared. Admiral Chen, Sarah's ancestor, whose mind had been uploaded before the Great Sleep. The Crawl fleet's formation. The Admiral's consciousness analyzed. It matches world-ender tactics from the Liberation War. They're being controlled, just as we suspected. Sarah felt her suit interface with the ship's systems. Through the neural link, she could feel the Prometheus awakening. Its ancient weapons ready to remind the galaxy why Earth had never truly been defeated. Multiple signals detected, V reported from her station. The other bases, they're all activating. More humans are waking up. Hayes took his command chair as the Prometheus lifted off. Send word to all awakened facilities. Initiation Protocol Alpha. It's time for humanity's full return. The Crawl fleet approached, expecting to find a few rogue ships hiding in the asteroids. Instead, they faced humanity's greatest vessels, crewed by warriors who had spent a millennium preparing for this moment. Admiral, Hayes addressed the hologram. Shall we show them how Earth fights a war? The digital consciousness smiled. The world enders thought they could hide behind the Crawl, using them as puppets. Time to remind them why they feared us in the first place. The Prometheus led the fleet out of the asteroid belt, its hull crackling with energies that shouldn't exist. Behind it, hundreds of stalker suits formed attack formations, their quantum drives syncing with the flagship's systems. Sarah felt the neural network connecting all human forces, ships, suits, and artificial consciousness working as one. The Crawl were about to learn that waking humanity was their greatest mistake. And somewhere out there, the true enemy watched, realizing their ancient foes had finally returned. The space between stars lit up with weapons fire as humanity's awakened fleet engaged the Crawl armada. The Prometheus led the charge, its quantum-phased armor absorbing hits that should have torn it apart. Neural swarm activated, Sarah announced from her command station. Her consciousness merged with the ship's systems through her stalker suit, allowing her to process combat data at impossible speeds. Admiral Chen's hologram analyzed the battle in microseconds. The Crawl ships are receiving commands through subspace frequencies we haven't seen since the fall of Earth, Colonel Hayes finished. The world enders are getting sloppy. They're reusing old tactics. The Prometheus's tactical display showed hundreds of Crawl ships moving in perfect geometric patterns. Too perfect. Their movements betrayed the ancient intelligence controlling them. All awakened facilities reporting ready, V announced from her station, where she helped coordinate with the Arxian forces. Operation Sleeping Giant is fully active. Captain Zarks watched in awe as more human ships emerged from hidden bases throughout the sector. But something caught his attention. Some of the vessels were different, carrying strange modifications. "Those aren't warships," Sarah explained, noticing his confusion. "They're world seed vessels, because humanity didn't just prepare for war during our long sleep." The Krall fleet's formation suddenly shifted. Their ships combined energy beams, creating a massive wave of destructive force. A signature world-ender tactic. "Now," Hayes ordered. The Prometheus and its escort ships activated their quantum ghost drives simultaneously. But instead of dodging, they created a temporal pocket that caught the energy wave. "Remember, people," Admiral Chen's consciousness announced. "We spent 1,000 years improving our technology. Time to show them what humanity learned from the last war." The trapped energy wave was redirected through the human fleet's neural network. The stalker suits began to glow as they channeled the power. Sarah felt the energy surge through her suit's systems, initiating protocol genesis. The world seed ships moved into position, using the captured energy to tear open artificial wormholes. Through these portals, impossible images appeared, glimpses of a restored Earth, its surface healed after a millennium of recovery. "By the stars," Zarks whispered, "you didn't just hide and wait. You were terraforming your homeworld." Earth was never dead, Hayes explained as the battle raged around them. It was healing, protected by time fields and dimensional barriers. And now, the Krall ships closest to the wormholes suddenly lost power. Ancient programs hidden in their control systems activated, failsafes planted by human cyber warriors 1,000 years ago. Through her neural link, Sarah detected new signatures approaching through the wormholes. The ground forces of Earth, massive war machines piloted by awakened human crews, emerged into battle. "The world enders thought they destroyed our home," Admiral Chen's hologram said proudly. "They never understood. Earth wasn't our origin point. It was our fortress." The Prometheus's sensors detected massive energy spikes from the disabled Krall ships. The world enders were attempting to detonate their puppets' reactors. "Not this time," Sarah said, activating her suit's special modifications. All around the battlefield, other stalker suits did the same. The neural network connected them all, transforming their quantum ghost drives into something new. "Evolution protocol authorized," Hayes commanded. The suits began to change, adapting forms that incorporated both human and stalker technology. The 1,000 years of neural development had created something unprecedented, a perfect fusion of organic and mechanical. As the transformed human warriors engaged the enemy fleet, a new signal echoed through space. From Earth's restored surface, more forces were awakening. The world ender's greatest fear had come true. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had evolved. The dimensional barriers around Earth shimmered as the last of humanity's sleeping forces awakened. Through her evolved stalker suit, Sarah could sense something vast stirring beneath the planet's healed surface. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," she reported. "The world enders are making their move." Space itself seemed to tear open as massive ships emerged from hyperspace, ancient vessels of twisted metal and dark energy. Their hulls bore the spiral markings they'd found in the Krall commander's files. Admiral Chen's hologram flickered with recognition. After 1,000 years, they finally show themselves. The lead world ender ship transmitted a signal that made even the quantum cores shudder. A figure appeared on the Prometheus's bridge, a being of shifting geometric patterns and impossible angles. "Humans," it spoke in a voice that existed in multiple dimensions at once. "We erased you from existence. How do you still live?" Colonel Hayes stood from his command chair, now wearing his own evolved stalker suit. "You never understood our greatest strength. You thought destroying our world would end us. Instead, you gave us a reason to become more." The world ender's form rippled with ancient anger. "Your species was a mistake, a cosmic error that learned too much, too quickly. We are the guardians of proper evolution. Proper evolution. Sarah laughed, her transformed suit allowing her to perceive the enemy's true nature. You're not guardians. You're afraid. Afraid because we found a way to surpass you. Through the neural network, Sarah shared what she saw. The world enders weren't just ancient. They were stuck, trapped in patterns they'd followed for millions of years. Their fear of change had led them to destroy any species that evolved too quickly. Captain Zarks and V watched in awe as the human fleet took new formations. The evolved stalker suits combined their quantum ghost drives in ways that shouldn't be possible, creating patterns that mirrored and mocked the world enders' own geometries. You hid behind the crawl, Hayes accused. Used them to do your dirty work, just like you used other species to try to destroy Earth. But we spent our 1,000 years of sleep learning about you, understanding you, becoming your opposite. The world ender's form fragmented with rage. Its fleet opened fire with weapons that bent reality itself. But humanity was ready. The Prometheus activated its final transformation. The ship's quantum cores merged with the neural network, creating a consciousness that existed across all human vessels and suits simultaneously. 1,000 years of simulated evolution compressed into a single moment. Protocol Omega. Admiral Chen's consciousness announced as it joined the network. Show them what humanity has become. Sarah felt her mind expand through the network. Every human warrior, every ship, every quantum core working in perfect harmony. They moved between moments of time, their evolved technology allowing them to fight in ways the world enders couldn't comprehend. The ancient beings had expected to find primitive warriors in Cryo-Sleep. Instead, they faced a species that had used its 1,000-year slumber to transcend traditional existence. Earth's surface erupted as the final part of humanity's plan revealed itself. The planet hadn't just been healing. It had been transforming, becoming something new. Something that merged biology, technology, and quantum mechanics into a single expression of human potential. The world enders recoiled as they realized the truth. They hadn't contained humanity. They had given them the time and motivation to become something unprecedented in the galaxy's history. Impossible. The world ender leader's voice fractured across dimensions. What have you become? Hayes smiled inside his evolved suit. We've become what you feared most, a species that embraces change. And now, after 1,000 years of preparation, we're ready to show you exactly what that means. The battle that followed would rewrite the laws of physics themselves. Time and space bent around the battling fleets as humanity unleashed the full power of their 1,000-year evolution. The world enders' reality warping weapons met transformed human technology in explosions that created and destroyed dimensions. Inside the neural network, Sarah experienced existence across multiple planes simultaneously. Through her evolved stalker suit, she could see the true battlefield. Not just physical space, but the layers of quantum reality where the world enders had hidden their power for millions of years. All human forces, Colonel Hayes commanded through the unified consciousness, execute Timeline Shatter Protocol. The Prometheus led the charge, its hull now a living quantum construct that phased between states of matter. The world seed ships activated their final programming, creating a web of artificial realities that trapped the ancient enemy fleet. Your evolution ends here. The world ender leader's fractured voice boomed across dimensions. We have erased thousands of species. You are no different. Earth's surface glowed with impossible energies. The planet humanity had seemingly abandoned was revealing its true purpose, not just a homeworld, but a key to unlocking the universe's fundamental laws. That's where you're wrong, Sarah replied, her consciousness synchronized with every human warrior. Those species fought alone. But humanity, we learned to share our evolution. Captain Zarks and V watched in awe as their own ships began to transform, touched by the quantum field emanating from the evolved human fleet. The Arctians weren't just witnesses anymore. They were becoming part of humanity's ascension. Admiral Chen's digital consciousness spread through the battlefield like a wave of pure information. 1,000 years ago, you thought destroying Earth would end us. Instead, you gave us the ultimate gift, the need to become more than we were. The world enders launched their final assault, trying to unmake reality itself. But where their power sought to destroy, humanity's transformed technology created new possibilities, new forms of existence. Now, Hayes ordered, every human ship, suit, and consciousness acted in perfect unity. The quantum ghost drives didn't just phase them out of reality. They rewrote the rules of space-time. Earth itself pulsed with power, revealing why humanity had really gone into cryo-sleep. They hadn't been waiting to wake up. They'd been waiting to transform completely. The world enders' geometric forms began to fracture as they faced something they'd never encountered in millions of years of destroying evolving species, a force that didn't just accept change, but embodied it. Sarah led her squad through quantum space, their evolved suits allowing them to attack the ancient beings on their own dimensional level. "You call yourselves guardians of evolution," she transmitted across all frequencies. "But you stopped evolving eons ago. You became static, frozen, afraid of change." The Prometheus's quantum cores channeled power from the transformed Earth, creating a cascade of evolutionary energy that spread through the defending fleet. The Arctians and other alien allies felt their ships and technology changing, adapting, becoming something greater. "This is humanity's gift to the galaxy," Hayes declared as the World Ender's fleet began to crumble. Not destruction, but transformation. Not stagnation, but endless potential. In their final moments, the World Enders witnessed their greatest fear, a species that had not only survived their attempt to erase it, but had used that very attack as a catalyst to become something unprecedented in the universe's history. Earth pulsed one final time, its transformed surface revealing the truth. The planet hadn't just been healing, it had become a cosmic engine of evolution, ready to share its power with any species brave enough to embrace change. "It's over," Sarah said, watching the World Ender's ships dissolve into quantum foam. "Their time of enforced stagnation is finished." Captain Zarks, his ship now transformed by human quantum technology, understood at last. "You didn't just save us from the Crawl or the World Enders. You saved us from becoming like them. Afraid of change, afraid of evolution." Colonel Hayes stood on the Prometheus's bridge, looking at the transformed Earth through eyes that could now see all layers of reality. "This was always humanity's purpose," he said, "not to conquer, not to destroy, but to show the galaxy that evolution never truly ends." The awakened humans had done more than win a war. They had changed the very nature of existence itself. As the quantum field spread through the galaxy, carrying the seeds of transformation, one truth became clear. Humanity's greatest sleep had led to the universe's greatest awakening.